got the 20 and 24-inch Huffy Grow Ride Move bikes here. I'm gonna help you get these built and together as easily and painlessly as possible. We're gonna be building the 20-inch today, just because it's a little easier and manageable on the table, but if you've got a 24, it goes together just like the 20. The only difference is that the 24 has gears and the 20 does not. So let me get the 24 out of here and we'll start unboxing the 20-inch. Okay, let's get this thing out of the box. It's important to note that Huffy has made everything in this recyclable. So we'll take all these parts out of the box and we'll separate it and get all the packaging off of it. But just know as you take all this stuff apart that you can recycle everything in this box. So once you get out of the box, go ahead and pull all the string. We've got this hemp cord instead of zip ties. You've got no stickers that are plastic anymore, they're biodegradable. Instead of plastic tape, we've got biodegradable tape. So really good job on that. Make sure you recycle everything. But take this all apart, get everything out, sort it out on the floor, on the table, wherever you're working on it, and then we'll grab the tools. Okay, so you just need a few tools for the job. You're gonna need a 6mm Allen wrench, 5mm Allen wrench, an adjustable wrench, or an open-ended 15mm, a Phillips head screwdriver, and a flathead screwdriver. Everything's out of the box. We got our front wheel. We have our parts box that came inside the big box. You have your seat. And I've left these caps on just to show that you can go ahead and pull these off and discard those. These are just safety for the packaging. And let's go ahead and see what we got in our parts box here. You got the pedals. It's important to note left and right. You got a stem cap, the stem that holds the handlebars on, your front reflector, and in the bottom is the owner's manual. So now with everything out on the table, it's time to start the build. The very first thing we gotta do is straighten out the forks here. So it comes in the box, in the packaging, with the forks turned backwards. It's really important that your brakes are facing forward. And what we'll do is we'll grab the stem cap here, and that just simply slides on top, a little pat. This is your stem that holds on the handlebars, and this is just a little protective cap. So we're gonna pull that, toss it to the side, and this is just gonna slide right down in here like that. Take your fingernail and pop this little rubber cap off. And we'll grab our 6mm Allen wrench, and we're gonna just barely tighten this up. A little side note here is that there's a minimum insertion line on this stem. And you can see right here with these dotted lines, this is basically the safety mark. You really don't want to go, you don't want the stem sticking out above this. It gets dangerous there. So just make sure that the stem you can't see those safety marks. And then I'm just gonna lightly tighten this just a little bit for now, just so it doesn't move, but we'll come back to that. And then I'm gonna take off both bolts here on the front. This is called the face plate of the stem. Take those off. And then your handlebars are gonna have some twists to the cables here. It kind of looks like a mess. And so as you bring them out front, you can kind of see that if I start twisting them one way, it's getting worse. And if I twist them back the other way, then they start to open up and they're free here. And so what I've got are the cables and the handlebars and the levers, and right now they're facing backwards. So I'm gonna go one more. And so now you can see that the back brake is on the right. So if I pull this lever and I look back here, that's the back brake, and the front brake is on the left. And notice this is nice and tidy. These cables are separated. You wanna make sure that it's nice and tidy and as simple as you can get it, just like this. So that front brake cable should be out there just on its own, just like this. And then try and hold the handlebars with one hand, grab that faceplate, and we're just gonna finger tighten these if you can hang on to it. We'll grab the wrench. And the only important part on this step is that you're centered in a few different ways here. So you can see on the top and bottom of the stem, we've got this gap right through here and right through here. You just wanna make sure that you're tightening the bolts and you're alternating so that the gap on the top and bottom are the same. So you don't want the faceplate to be too far this way or too far this way. And then, of course, you wanna make sure that your handlebars are in the right position. and you want to make sure that if you stand back and you look, there's a little bit of a curve to them. This is too far forward, this is too far back. I always say the rule of thumb is when you look from the side, the angle should be in line with the forks. So there's kind of a flow right here. So once you find that, you want to make sure that the bars are centered left to right. So you don't want it too far over one way or the other. Make sure it's right in the center right here. And when you find that spot and you've alternated, go ahead and tighten it down. Okay, things are looking nice and even. I'm gonna give this some oomph here. And especially on these tiny little bolts, you don't want like gorilla tight. So don't over tighten it, but want this to be really nice and snug. And if you start hearing noises like that, you're getting really close. And then, don't forget to put that little tiny rubber cap right on top. Next up, let's get the front wheel on. A couple first steps there. So lift up the front of the bike and you've just got this plastic guard right there that's gonna come off, and you toss that to the side. And we have to disconnect the front brakes. So we'll just take one hand and squeeze the two brakes here, and the other hand's gonna go to this metal thing, we call this a brake noodle. And we just wanna pull the brake noodle out of this little bridge right here. And just, you can see there's a little slot on top. It just quickly comes out just like this. If everything looks like this, you're just fine. And then we're gonna go to our front wheel here and back off the axle nuts on both sides to where they're almost falling off. And you've got axle nut and a little spacer here on each side. And the spacer is gonna go on the very outside next to the axle nut. And then it's important to note that there is a directional tread pattern on this. You can see how it kind of points forward. And on this one, it also has a rotation point where it says that it rotates this way. So I'll put it in the front of the bike just like this. So remember, make sure those spacers are on the outside touching the axle nuts. Lift up the front of the bike, and we're just gonna drop that down. See those grooves right here in the fork? Those are gonna go on either side of your axle, just like that. And then you can start to tighten up each axle nut, and you can see that the washers are gonna go inside of those little channels there. Just like that. And then grab your adjustable wrench or your 15mm wrench. And one thing that's important to note is that make sure that even though these safety washers really guide the wheel into the fork, you also want to make sure that the wheel, when you're tightening this, when you're putting it in, is in the center of the fork here. So once you finger tighten the axles, then go ahead and alternate and start tightening either side. And that way the axle doesn't spin inside of the fork there. And get it nice and tight. This one you can kind of go for gorilla tight, and I don't say that too often. And after that, we're gonna move on to hooking up the front brake. We're gonna go in reverse steps to hook up your brake. Just flip that little bridge over and kind of hold both sides with one hand. This is a little bit of a magic trick. And so on this one, you can see that it came out of the box a little short. So all we have to do is take a 5mm Allen wrench. Because I don't have enough slack to pull this back into the brake bridge, that's okay. It came from the factory that way. You just have to take your 5mm Allen wrench and pull this back just a tiny bit. So let's do that real quick. So I'll take my 5 and loosen it just a little bit. You don't have to loosen a ton, maybe a full turn or a slightly more. And then notice that I'm just gonna pull this through just a little bit. Oh, too much. Let's go back. And there's no calculation, I'm just guessing here, and that's okay. So I'm gonna tighten this back up and make sure you get this nice and tight. And know that you might have to come back and put some more slack in it. So let's try it again. I'll squeeze the brakes. And it's supposed to be pretty close, so if you have to fight it a little bit, that's all right. There we go, it's back in. And then as soon as you get this little brake bridge on, just go ahead and grab your front brake lever, the lever on the left, and just give it a little check. And as you can see, if I pick up my wheel and I turn it, it's rubbing. And you can see that one side is moving and one side is not moving. There's a couple of factors here. When you look straight down on it, you really want to make sure that as you spin the wheel, that the tire is not gonna rub on the brake pads. This is a little bit technical, but you're building a bike at home. Here's a step you gotta do. So if I look on this side, it's even on this rim. This brake pad is even on the rim. Looks nice and good, but on this side, you can see quickly that this brake pad is gonna hit the tire right here. So once again, I just grabbed my Allen wrench. This one's gonna be the 6mm, slightly bigger. And you can do this a couple different ways, but if you got help and you can have somebody hold it up, or put your kickstand down, you can lean it. I'm gonna loosen up this brake pad, and then I'm just gonna center it on the wheel. And then my favorite way to do this is to push the brake arm against, so you have contact with the pad against the rim, just like this. And then I'm just gonna make sure that it's nice and centered on the rim and that the pad is even. It's not pointed down, it's not pointed up, just like this. And keep that pressure on the arm, because as you tighten it, it's gonna wanna spin. Sometimes I even have to hold the brake pad with my hand, but this one's playing pretty nicely, but I'm gonna go ahead and hang on to it. Put my thumb on it. And then you go ahead and check. When I pull it, now it looks like the other side. And now the second thing to check is to make sure that when you pull the brakes, see how one side is moving and the other side is not. It's a super easy fix. You take your Phillips screwdriver and you go to the dead side that is not moving. And you've got this tiny little screw here, and you can even see that this one is so loose. This little screw, as you tighten it in, it puts pressure on this arm to pull it back and make it a little bit springy. So what I'm gonna do is take my Phillips and I'm gonna tighten it to the right to put tension on this. And if yours is as loose as this one is, just give it a handful of turns and then just check it. Pretty happy with that, but if you hear that, the wheel's rubbing. So repeat that process until the brake pads are not rubbing anymore. So just make sure that nothing is touching the tire, nothing is touching the rim. And after the front of the bike is done, we'll grab our pedals. And this is pretty straightforward, but you just really want to make sure that you're putting the left on the left and the right on the right. There is a specific left and right. They're threaded differently. So the right has an R stamped into it here, and the L is here. And then a lot of times on these newer pedals, there's also an L and R on the outside of the pedal, and then even a sticker that says left as well. So let's grab the right pedal, and the right side has normal threads. A little rule of thumb here is that you can always tighten and loosen the pedals towards the front and back of the bike. Pedals on bicycles always tighten towards the front of the bike, no matter which side, and they always loosen by turning it towards the back of the bike. Got that nice and tight, and we'll grab the left. Now the left one is reverse thread, so I'm gonna turn it towards the front of the bike, which means to tighten it, turn to the left. Then once both pedals are on, we're gonna put the seat on. Grab your seat, and we've got what's called a quick release seat post clamp. So we open this lever up, and if you put your seat in and you close this lever and you can still turn your seat or just pull it out, what you're gonna do is open the lever and turn this knob back here to the right, and you'll tighten it a handful of times, and then you'll put the seat in, and then you'll tighten it, and it should be pretty tight. Same as the stem, there's a minimum insertion line on the seat as well. So you wanna make sure that you're down in here past this minimum insertion line. Make sure that the seat is nice and straight, and tighten this clamp up. It should take a little bit of oomph, like that. Now it's not going anywhere. Now you're good. And you're moving on to one of the last steps. Take that reflector with your Phillips head screwdriver and just back that screw all the way out. And we're just gonna pull this apart, open it up, and wrap it around the handlebars. Put the screw back in and grab your screwdriver to tighten it up. And last but not least, don't forget to put air in your tires. The PSI rating is on the sidewall. Just make sure that you don't overinflate your tires. And other than that, nicely done on building your new GRM. And be sure to check out the rest of our GRM videos in the library.